Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Street Epistemology video review. I've got a few guests here today. We're co-hosts. Dali, hey, how's it going? From Juggling Lessons, and
Uh,
Tyrone. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Dali? Say something.
oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Hi. Welcome. I'm delighted to be here. Haven't seen Ty in a couple of months. It's good to see him again.
Couple of months already. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like
know.
July.
yeah,
Thank
Ty
No
here
way.
from
We talked in Discord way before that. All right. Anyway. Yay, it's me.
Okay.
Ty.
I was born in the USA. It's me. Let's chat on
Mhm.
YouTube. What's up, everybody?
And,
Doctor is in.
and Nathan as well from Abstract Activist. How's it going, Nathan?
Mhm.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here.
So today we're going to be reviewing a video from Nathan's channel. Want to give a quick setup to that, Nathan?
Yeah, I live in Portland, Oregon, and there's I also live right across the street from a police station. Most of the activity happening in Portland, Oregon, though, is in the Downtown Justice Center, which is about a 10-minute drive from me. And so I wanted to do some SE down there. And this was probably like my third or fourth day of trying out SE down in a protest area. And this time there was going to be a Back the Blue kind of like counter protest demonstration happening on the 22nd of August. And so I wanted to, since I had already released, or I think at the time I was working on my Black Lives Matter video, I wanted to see if I could meet with some counter protesters to get like a completely different take on things. And so I was planning on getting several interviews, but when I got there, the counter protest kind of moved away in the middle of this interview. And you can tell by the tone of the discussion that things become a lot more chill, and they calm down like about 2/3 of the way through. I kept trying to end the discussion, but she seemed to really enjoy the conversation. So she kept like coming back for more. So I actually went a lot longer than I had planned. And I had hoped to get interviews with lots of people, but it was just mostly Shannon here.
Right.
And so I was hesitant to release this video for a long time because I wasn't so sure how I felt about it, to be honest. But then I shared it with a couple other content creators, and I was encouraged to release it. So I did. And here we are.
Because you wanted to. Don't blame us. Take ownership, man.
I did kind of want to.
Yes, that's right. Because he kind of wanted to too, and that's good. So you did a good job.
So we all of us.
Thanks for the encouragement, by the way, Ty. Because if
you're welcome.
You've helped me with like all my videos, with like getting the courage to release content is really hard for me.
Yeah. That publish button is a freaky thing, but yeah.
I like practicing it a lot more than publishing it, but I feel like there's an extra layer of understanding somebody else when you listen back to it and you're about to publish it.
Yeah,
I feel like you review a lot more of what they have to say and consider better questions a lot more when you go through it again. So I'm probably gonna feel really self-conscious this whole time. But
this is
excited to see what happens.
Just a side note.
Yeah.
But Dali, you perform publicly. You do juggling, and that's really awesome. So like that's sort of like you're pushing yourself out there. Reid, you professionally produce videos. You make content for a living. I don't make content for a living, but I do make a lot of side videos. Like I did animation, and I'll push out ASL videos even on my SE channel because I'm all about communication. Maybe for you, Nathan, it's just an idea of just getting used to putting yourself out there. And if anything, your Fire Stick magic video things, I'll watch that anytime. You said you have flaming nunchucks too. I'll watch that. Just figure out a way to color what you do, and we're here to support you. And that's what we're doing right now.
Right on.
For sure. All right, let's get into the video, and hopefully everybody's got the watch together link. If not, just let me know and I'll pause it.
Oh, I don't.
Is that what you posted here? It was just posted with.
Oh, there context, it is. Watch to
I've got
it. I got it. All right, I'm opening it up.
Yeah. Give you a few seconds then to get there. Oh, hello, someone.
I just clicked join the room.
Yes, I joined the room as well.
Called Dav Monique.
All right, this is just that way we can pause it together. I see.
Hello, Dav. Yeah, and feel free to comment people on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, and I'll respond or we'll comment as well. All right, so let's just test this out. Here we go. Hopefully I'll play and it'll play for you guys. Here we go.
Is it possible that maybe
I'm not getting all the information?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Is it possible that maybe
Are you getting an echo? I'm getting a little bit of an echo.
A wee bit of an echo.
Not
I got it to repeat it a couple times, and it then seems to settle in. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
Try this.
it's synced for
I'm not
me.
getting all the information?
yeah,
Oh, 100%. 100%.
it's very open-minded of you.
100%.
What would be the thing that would make you go from a 90-95 to a 20? Is there something, just hypothetically, is there something that you could see that would make you?
I don't think so, because
So let me turn that question inside out. Imagine now for a moment I'm interviewing a Black Lives Matter protester, and they're telling me that there's nothing that could ever be demonstrated to them, or any kind of information that they could ever see that would make them go from a 0 to a 90. Like, how would we resolve our disputes with that person?
I don't know.
Nice teaser.
Oh man,
You had
this
me
theme
hooked right
song.
there.
Oh man, it's very Nathan. I love it. It's very Nathan. I love it.
So I
It's like
realized
falling into the
that
Matrix.
Yeah.
if I mute our if I mute our what's it called, the share
WTV?
stream, then it doesn't echo because I can hear it on this other
Does
end.
anyone?
Yeah.
One thing to mention about that intro is that's one of my favorite ways to ask questions about any claim, is an outsider test for somebody else who doesn't think it. So if somebody else doesn't think something and they're at some point on their scale, but they don't know what it would take to be where we are, then how would we resolve our disputes with that person, or how would we feel about that person's open-mindedness to that position? And then, so it's an outsider test to knowing what it would take to slide on our scale and whether or not it would be a good thing to not know.
Yeah, I
What it
see
would
you
take to
rock
slide.
OTF often, and you do it very well. And
Thank
it's
you.
your go-to. Yeah, but you do it really well.
That's
I
my
don't do
go-to,
it very
yeah,
well,
probably.
but you do it very, very well.
Yeah,
Thanks.
People prefer to be consistent and seen as consistent, so it's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Keep going.
Hi there. Does anyone here have 5 minutes for an interview, for a really quick interview? Just asking people why they're out here, and it's 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Do you mind if we stay in the shade?
No.
Awesome. I'm Nathan.
I'm Shannon.
Shannon?
Yeah.
When was this recorded? Back in
August 22nd. And just so you know, so this is one of the craziest environments I've ever done SE. I'm actually surrounded by a bunch of armed, maybe militias, or there's a lot of people with firearms around me right now.
It looked like the shadow of a rifle somebody was holding.
Yeah, there was a shadow of a rifle for sure. I did cut out somebody I talked to for 5 minutes just before this, who was not related to anything going on. He was just there to push his own personal agenda for tax reform. And I was considering leaving it in, but because in the video, there's somebody on the sidewalk right there washing tear gas out of his eyes. And then somebody, like a couple other people around me, were
Jesus Christ.
holding firearms. And I kind of wanted to keep that footage in, but I also didn't think it was relevant to this discussion. So I ended up ultimately cutting it. But everyone's masked. These conversations are difficult already because of the heated nature of it and all the people that are around us that are angry and trying to not be associated with any of those things and just be a neutral observer and ask questions that would critically evaluate what we're thinking. But we're also masked. Can't see their face, can't see their mouth. So that adds to the difficulty of it.
It's
Yeah,
nuts.
Yeah, wow.
that is pretty nuts. You'll hear some fireworks go off I think,
Yeah, it's
throughout.
intense.
Also,
I see
one
it.
more thing to add is that this also was big. This was a big news day because there was somebody who did pull a gun on someone out in the open, just around the corner, and it happened during this interview, and it was like headline news for a while. And his hand was on the trigger, so it was a pistol. And also there was a Black Lives Matter van just around the corner, which normally works to support the Black Lives Matter movement, and it comes and brings supplies. And I think it was either its tires were slashed or stolen, because when I walked up to it afterwards, it was sabotage. So it was just like on cinder blocks, but it had been driving through for a couple of months supporting Black Lives Matter, but not up until today. It was sabotaged and wasn't working anymore. So that's the side note.
Yeah.
We can keep going now.
Mind Onion says high risk SE. Agreed.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever done SE in a more
What brings
riskier
you out here?
environment? That's crazy.
Yeah, very risky.
SE in what?
Like, I'm wondering, has anyone ever done SE in a riskier environment?
Right. All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. Yeah, he's up there. He's way up there.
Yeah. Just want to do what he's doing, but no editing.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm Nathan.
I'm Shannon.
Shannon?
Yeah.
Hi, Shannon. Pleasure to
Hi,
meet you.
nice to meet you.
What brings you out here? It's Saturday, beautiful sunny day.
No, I came down for the support the police rally. There was a protest planned for anti-Marxism or something, and then there was just a support law enforcement rally. I'm down here for the rally, support law enforcement. And the sign that I had earlier, but I put it away, it says, you can support the police and stand against racism. You can do both, which I 100% believe that. 100%. So that's why I'm down here, just to show the police their support, that I do support them. And this is just ridiculous. We need to be able to figure out, everybody have conversations instead of just fighting.
Yeah.
And it's both sides right now. And I hate it. Because again, we just need to be able to have conversation. Even if you disagree, you can still be civil towards each other. And so that's why.
Yeah. I'm hearing you say that there's we need to be more civil towards each other, and that police lives matters also, and you feel like that voice isn't being heard enough, and so that's what's motivating you.
So
if that's not correct.
Yeah, no, I do not support the Black Lives Matter movement just because of the fact that they are anti-police. And I do not believe that all police are racist, just like I do not believe that all protesters are rioters.
Yeah.
A few bad ones I don't think should make everybody else look bad.
Mm-hmm.
But
what do you think that they want, the Black Lives Matter protesters? Let me know if that's an unfair question.
No, I have to think about it. I think they want the same thing that I want. I think racism needs to be abolished throughout the whole world. Racism is terrible. Nobody, just because of the color of their skin or who they fall in love with or their religion, nobody should be discriminated against.
Right.
Nobody. So I think that's what they want. I think that again, the problem that I have with them is that they're anti-police. And
so that's the biggest reason that we would be maybe opposed to their coming out here night after night for months on end. But what is the thing that you think they do want that
but that's it.
you could agree with them maybe on? Is there something?
I'm really
I think
trying
that
to
I
not
agree
say
with
but.
them that everybody needs to be treated equally. Everybody, regardless of the color of your skin. Again, regardless who you love.
Right.
I don't care if you're homosexual, transgender. I don't care.
Yeah.
Everybody has the right to not be discriminated against.
Yeah.
And so I believe that we agree on that. Again, that racism needs.
How do we accomplish that?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
I think that's the big question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think that we've come pretty far. I think we've come a long ways. I mean, we had an African American president. I think that we've come a long ways in 100 years. We can all vote, women included. I think we can do better.
How do we get better?
That's the $1 million question.
Right.
That's the $1 million question, because I don't.
If things don't get better, what do we do?
Again, that's the $1 million question right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are always going to be people in this world that are racist.
Yeah.
And I don't think talking to them is going to change that. The same way that I don't think violent rioters, just saying to them, hey, let's not do that, is going to stop them from doing it. There's always a small.
So what kind of question would you ask right now? Because I'm thinking that what I'm hearing is people's minds can't be changed.
I'm wondering what
is anyone else hearing that?
Yeah. And I'm shooting my messengers about, I think I have a way. And Daryl Davis has a way. I'm shooting that messenger over and over.
Yeah, so I kind of like I'm reacting emotionally. I'm trying not to, because I'm here trying to have discussions where people critically evaluate what we think, and I'm willing to talk to just about anyone out here right now. And I do talk to a lot of Black Lives Matter protesters after this, and my camera dies.
I'm hearing a lot of qualifying.
So,
I'm hearing a lot of moral qualifying, like, hey, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. I'm just out here supporting the police. But it's like, I'm not hearing the claim of why she's supporting the police. Just, by the way, I'm also not racist. I'm also not this. I think gay people can be married, but I'm supporting the police. Yeah, but like, why are you supporting the police? Well, I'm not racist. And where's the claim of why she's out there? That's what I'm waiting for. I'm
maybe listening. That's like her perception of how she feels she's being perceived. By holding these ideas, and so she feels the need to clear the air first about the wrong way to interpret what she's thinking. Sometimes when I hold a belief that is a minority opinion, I feel like disclosing the precise wrong way to interpret what I'm about to say first, if I feel like I'm advocating for something, but I tend to not anyway, because I ask more questions these days. But I'm reacting. I'm hearing her say that people might be it might be impossible to change people's minds on certain things, or it's very difficult to do that. So I'm like trying to seek the question that would make me think that's true, and so I kind of ask what we're about to hear.
Yeah, I would try to really steer the conversation onto like focusing on a question, and I think it's like, are police discriminate? She said people shouldn't be discriminated against. It should be, equal. Are the police, for the most part, like virtually always, non-discriminatory? Like, I would focus it on that question in some way, and I guess that relates to police brutality. Like, if they were non-discriminatory, then there would be less police brutality, probably. But I don't know how I would phrase that exactly, but I would want to focus on it, on that discussion question, that topic, because that seems to be the center of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I think I meander quite a bit in the beginning, and then it starts to hone in on something more later. So
don't discredit yourself. You're doing good so far. It's just
it meanders though.
I've seen it. I've seen this before, and my memory of this whole section is that you gave her plenty of room to be able to express all those reservations that she had, all those ways she didn't want to be misinterpreted.
Exactly.
And something like 2/3 of the way through, it's like she finally lets all that down.
Yeah.
Because
it gets really human.
Accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hopefully.
But right now it's a lot of nervous energy.
Definitely. And I'm nervous too. Like I'm pretty nervous already. But I always have this attitude.
How can you relax in an environment like that where there's guns being thrown out and stuff? Yeah. I totally respect it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
The comforting thought that I usually goes through my head is I don't need to post this if I don't want to post this. Like no, this can be, this is consensual for this person and for me. Like if I don't like the way the conversation goes, I don't need to do anything with it. And like this thinking that way kind of gets me to relax a little bit too. But yeah. All right, ready to go.
Babylon Project says could have a lot of qualifications because of the associations her position generally has. Like, she seems very on the defensive. I assume that's fair in this, in her situation.
She's also very outnumbered. She's with a lot of like armed guards, basically. Though there's a very large, like multi-thousand person crowd. Probably like I'm guessing like 2,000 people, maybe 1,000. Somewhere in there. It's a lot. It's like you can't see it all at once, so I don't really know. But it's a large park where they are all very used to meeting there. So
okay, yeah, let's keep going.
All right,
go ahead.
Cool.
Percentage of any group, whether it's police, teachers, protesters, religious leaders, there's always a small percentage of them that are bad people in general.
If things don't get better, between like if you perceive to your satisfaction that the Black Lives Matter protests are not getting what they want, and if police brutality or violence does escalate or continues on the path that it is, what should we do about that?
I don't know. See,
I'm asking really hard questions.
No, it's okay.
So, yeah.
No, with the police brutality, that's one area where we differ. So Breonna Taylor, to me, tragic that she died, but I believe it was a justified shooting because of the fact that her boyfriend fired at the police when they came in. It was a legal warrant that they had. I think if anybody has issues, they should go talk to the judge that signed off on the legal warrant, on a no-knock warrant. But I do not think that anybody should be able to fire on the police, fire guns, and not expect to get fired back at. I just so for Breonna Taylor, like I said, that to me I think was a justified shooting, which there are people that feel differently, and we will never agree on that, even if we talk about it. I mean, I feel like if they have all the information, the right information, because I've heard that they went into the wrong apartment. They were looking for a person, which is not true. They were looking for evidence. They weren't looking for a person. When they went in, they found a package from her ex-boyfriend. Granted, it didn't have drugs in it. It had clothes and shoes in it. But so right there, I think the police, they went home that night, and that's what they need to do.
So these are specific examples.
So I'm saying that is a very specific example, but a lot of the examples that they say, I think are justified shootings. So
overall, you think that
nice hat, Tyrone.
Generally, correct me if this isn't correct. No, my goal is to understand it correctly.
A few more days.
What about is the violence overall, like between white people and black people, proportionate, or are they disproportionate?
By police?
Overall. But by police.
Okay, well, I mean, by police.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that, again, something like 23% of African Democrats, and everybody who's been keeping everyone at bay, keeping us safe from hitting us, they're leaving. Okay, so they're advising all of us. Okay.
Oh, wow, the Proud Boys were there? Wow.
Yes, I believe so. I thought that I was going to go down there because the Proud Boys are going down there, and then I think BLM was going to go down there because the Proud Boys were. So I just considered it's going to be on my toes. Though she identifies as a Back the Blue supporter, and so I just wanted to call her whatever she wanted to be referred to. She had a shirt that said "Back the Blue" on the back of the shirt.
It's the sort of thing that makes your stomach turn when someone says, let me just begin by saying I have read up a lot of research on vaccines. I'm very well versed on vaccines. And it's like, and here comes the crazy part. And so like whenever someone has like a weird, I'm not racist preamble, the immediate other foot dropping is, And here's some racist things I'm gonna say, and it just makes you go like, oh geez, here we go. Okay, so at least now both feet are on the ground, and there's probably some more tumbling.
One thing I regret not doing was asking for her definition of racism or something to that effect, because then we could have pinned down what that word meant, or what's the limit to that? Is there some edge where something can look like racism but not be racism? Yeah, that could have been a whole nother discussion, though. I mostly just wanted to know what was like the motivation to be out here, and what was the motivation for saying certain things, like she says she doesn't support Black Lives Matter. So what's the motivation for that? If there's like thousands of Black Lives Matter people over here, I've been asking them in separate videos what motivates them to come out. So I only felt that it was fair and consistent to be asking similar questions.
Sure.
I'm usually a really easy grader. Back about 2 minutes, I'm going to call you on a nitpick for a slight direct message. You brought up police brutality, and she hadn't mentioned it.
Ah, yes.
And then she said, here's where you and I disagree. Now, you may have spoken to her about it before the camera was rolling, but she immediately took the counter position as soon as you brought up the term, as far as I could tell, which is fine.
Yeah. What did
rapport obviously didn't suffer.
Right. It's weird because in my other Black Lives Matter videos, I'm asking what is the main message for Black Lives Matter? What do you think this is all about? And like and I had assumed, I went with my understanding of that, which is probably not the right way to go.
Gotcha.
All right.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Whoever paused it, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll do it.
Oh my, how do I get this?
Where was I? Tell me.
We were talking about whether or not things were disproportionate.
Oh, okay. So apparently like 13% of Americans are African American. 23% of them
we're black.
Make up for the arrests or something like that. But when you throw in the fact that 53% of the murders last year were committed by African Americans,
oh, here we go.
I think suddenly the disparity with the numbers the lines get blurred a little bit. Because I do believe that the more involved you are in criminal activity, the more likely you are to have run-ins with the police. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
So what do we do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? What would you advise? Like
I think more training for the police is great. I've talked to police officers.
More training. Okay.
More training. You know what?
Yeah.
Give them more training instead of defunding them. Give them more training on hand-to-hand combat. So that if they are pinned down by someone, they know how to get themselves out of that position without having to use lethal force.
So I'm looking for common ground. One of the arguments that
So we're obviously not going to get through the whole thing probably today.
I can't stomach it. I wouldn't be able to stomach
it.
Like I might have to literally leave early. I always wonder why people, it seems like there's a euphemism that's going on of like, there's no black people in the police, and blue lives is just white people with guns that are allowed to shoot black people. And I know that's an extreme case, and I don't want to tangentially pull this to an aside, but man, there's so many directions. When I hear things like this, even as a person who's done SC for a while, it's just like there's so many roads, potential avenues that you can go, and it's just a question of like, okay, it's so easy to get lost in an argument, and so easy to get caught up in a debate, and so easy to lose yourself in semantics and wanting to define things. But if I was in this position, if I was talking to this lady, again, I would have to stress myself to sort of like what Reid was talking about. What's the main question? What's the main methodology? And like, what's getting her so confident that's out here? I feel like generally right now, this is really good rapport building. Like she's getting rid of all of her nervous initial energies, and she's gauging you on your reactions to see like, hey, can I say these things without you, instantly trying to correct me? And you're giving her space to breathe and stuff like that. And that's good. Though, where's the claim that you start digging in on? And like, where's that confidence point? And does it take, how long are we into the conversation? Over 5 minutes? About? That's fine. 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Would it normally take 10 minutes to get there, or is there a more optimal way to start getting a claim that you can start digging? That would be the question I'd be wondering, at least at this point.
A more optimal way to get the claim? To get to the claim?
More optimal way to get to something where you can start talking, because right now you're chit-chatting, but you're not really offering anything. She's just using you as a soundboard for a lot of the things that she believes, and it's no confidence claims. It's just, these are the things that I'm aware of. These are some facts that I cherry-picked, but there's no general thesis that she's pulling these into that you can like start digging and attacking or gently challenging. She's just like pulling up what I find to be
like attitudes,
statistics to appeal to a common belief or a foundational belief that she has, but she's not willing to give yet. And so it's just a question of like, what's the more optimal way to get there rather than this right now?
Yeah,
because I can see a lot of people.
So right now, go ahead.
Oh, go on ahead.
I was just going to say, so what I'm about to do is list a couple of, so this is not normally something I would normally do, but I just got done doing a ton of interviews with BLM protesters. So I'm going to poorly kind of describe, this is actually my least favorite part of the whole video, but I'm about to like poorly describe some of the arguments that I've heard, like licensing the police and things like that. And I'm going to see her basically shoot them all down. Like she doesn't see, she doesn't see a lot of the proposals that I've heard in my previous interviews as being valid or sound. So we're about to hear that.
That I've heard from the Black Lives Matter protesters is that they're looking for a way to maybe even license police, kind of like how hairdressers need a license to do hairdressing.
Yeah.
If we made it so that way police officers needed a license to be a police officer, do you think that would help things?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't understand how that would help. Do they think that there are people that are going into law enforcement if they had to get a license, like wouldn't? I don't think so. I don't think that would deter anything. I've heard that, make them have master's degrees or something like that. I don't think that's true either, because even if you have a master's degree or higher education, you still have to go through the same police academy as someone that is 22 years old going in.
Another one of the things that I heard.
So that's obviously distracting. I wish I followed through with that one a little bit more. I think the idea is behind the licensing, having like police license, and I could be wrong, like I'm not an expert in this by any means, but I thought the idea was that if you violate something in one town or locale, that would make it more difficult for you to just jump to the next town and be a cop in the next town.
Yep.
So like you do something wrong in one town and now your license is revoked. If your license is revoked, then it's just kind of like licensing a doctor. Like if you commit malpractice, I think this is my understanding anyway, that it'll make it more difficult for you to commit malpractice again as a doctor. So
there's that cliche scene in movies, like give me your gun and your badge. I assume that's like similar to revoking a license. And I don't know if that's like, if you can just go to another police station and get another job. I don't even know how that would.
Yeah. To an extent, yes, you absolutely can. Like that's what they do. And I don't want to, I don't want to be the sole voice on this. It just makes me more comfortable, but yeah, that is a practice. Okay. It's exactly similar to even like one would say the Catholic Church. You just move to a different parish, you can move to a different municipality, county, and it's very poorly tracked, but it's regularly done.
Yeah. And then when that bomb went off, I was like completely derailed and was unable to follow through with that. So
that's understandable.
Right.
Okay. Is that police officers should maybe be living in the same county or the same locale that they protect and serve? What do you have to say about that? Is that something that we could maybe no,
I totally disagree with it. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of with the people not liking the police and being against them, those police officers, they want to be able to go home and leave it at home. They want to be able to go down to the grocery store, not have to worry about people that you maybe had interactions with. Although I think that's okay too. My dad was a probation officer in Tillamook for 20 years. He would regularly at Fred Meyer, oh, hey, Rob. don't put that in there. I mean, he's fine. He's retired, and
I could leave it out.
well, anyways, yeah. I mean, my mom's name is Billy. Like, there's no getting around like either one of my parents' names.
Okay.
But so I mean, it's fine if you live in a small town, but I think that it's the same thing with teachers. I work in education, so there are a lot of teachers that don't want to live in the same city that they work in, because if they're in the store buying a case of beer or something, they don't have to worry about running into one of their kids.
What? What?
So no, I don't think that police should have to live in the same city that they work
Oh
in.
no! Why is that an
And
excuse?
then
I understand that.
one of my final questions will be one of the things I keep hearing from Black Lives Matter is
If you're a nice cop, you
do away
shouldn't have
with
much to
police
worry
unions.
about, right?
You have any
Oh my
opinions
God.
on that?
Yeah,
If we did-
for real.
If we did away with
Oh
police
my
unions,
God.
the argument is, from what I'm hearing, if I understand them correctly,
I don't know though.
Is
I'm not
that,
a police officer, so
don't-
I don't really know.
they don't make any products; they just provide a service. And I'm hearing them say that if we do away with police unions, it will enable us to more adequately govern our police.
That's kind of sending a message through a question.
It is, yeah. As a matter of fact, the whole last couple of minutes were.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking in my own head, I think, when I was doing this is, oh, if I end up using this footage, maybe I can splice in some of the things I've heard from my other videos. But then I realized that was A, a lot of work, and B, probably not fair for her, for me to do that. So
Also, I'm seeing much more greater excitement on her part to shoot down ideas than offer her own ideas. And I'm still waiting to hear her core beliefs or a statement of something she's willing to allow to be challenged. But if you offer it, she can do that all day. And
Right.
I think what's going on right now is still just the emotional evening out between the two of you.
yeah.
How is that any different than unions for teachers?
Right. So that's a different discussion, I think.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion one way or the other about police unions. My first thought is they're needed for protection for the police. So I really don't have an opinion on that. I don't really see how that would. I don't have an opinion on that. I'd have to think about that and research it a little bit and figure out why they're saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
fair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I would have to look into it. One thing that I think that needs to happen, but I want to make sure that it's fair, is the police oversight committees that they're talking about having that are like public people.
Okay.
I really think that anybody that is on that, one thing that they need to do, part of their training to do that job, I think that they need to go do some training that the police do on lethal force.
Okay.
And I think that they need to run through the scenarios, go through some of that training so they have a better idea of what police face.
Okay.
Like they're the not seminar, but the simulators that you can go through, and then again, and just go through some of those trainings, because I actually saw, it was a few years ago, there was a Black Lives Matter activist, was really against the police, but he agreed to go and run through with the police department some of the force training that officers go through. And afterwards, he said that it gave him such a different perspective, and that he actually understood that if you're telling someone, show me your hands, and they're not, you don't know what they're going to pull out, if they're going to pull out a knife. Anyways, that guy, he ended up shooting all of them. So I just think that would be really good for any citizens that are on that. I think they need to go through that. The same way that then, they also need to go through some race training and I can't think of the name, like unbiased training.
Sure.
The training. Yeah.
This will be my last question.
Like
What
racial
is,
sensitivity training, maybe?
What is the best thing that we can do to satisfy the unrest? Overall unrest.
That's a good question to surface a claim to, talk about. I like that.
Yeah, I probably should have done that one.
That's fine.
What would make all this a little easier for everybody? What do we do?
showing it doesn't work. Everybody in an ideal world, oh yeah, okay, we don't have police, everybody's more peaceful towards each other. It's not happening. More people are dying, and like shootings are up like 200-300%. I just, like I said, I think everybody talks about more training for the police. I think that maybe is a good place to start. I don't know.
It might have been helpful to gauge her confidence on that being the majority claim for the Black Lives Matter movement. Is the Black Lives Matter movement saying that they want to do away with all police? In one of my videos, I had somebody say that, though most people that I talk to aren't saying that. So again, this is about the perception of other people's claims, and so I'm hearing a lot of defining her understanding of what those people over there, what are they saying?
Hey, Mind Onion.
Mind Onion, what's up?
Mind Onion.
Yeah.
Yeah, another question to just focus on is like, what is the main issue from the Black Lives Matter movement that they are being put forward?
There you go. Yeah. And that gets her to think about what they're presenting. And then if anything, if it doesn't make her more empathetic or at least more thoughtful, that's probably the better word, at least it'll give her something that she's willing to talk about rather than you offering. And then that puts less effort on your part, because your goal should just be to help her to think about what she believes, not to offer her things to think about.
And then we can get into, is that issue a real like substantive issue? Adam knows the real substantive issue. What's the evidence for that? Test for a method for that.
Yeah.
Oh. Cool.
Also, her fingernails are tacky. Oh. That's probably a low blow. But it's true. If I wouldn't have done so, like, even if I was a quasi complicitly racist person in education, I wouldn't have done one stripe per each finger. I would have done one stripe across all the fingers that line up. That's how classy I would have been. Anyway,
her fingernail polish.
Just me.
She's got some blue stripes on her fingernails.
Yeah, I know, but she's got one on every single one. It's just like, have you seen the flag? It's on a blue stripe on every single one of them. It's one blue stripe across the whole thing. But all right, go for it.
Yeah, we're about to get interrupted by the crowd a bit more here in a little bit, I think.
Should we skip forward a little bit just to skip?
Do you have a milestone?
I don't know when it is, so we could skip forward to.
I'm just going to skip to a random spot and.
Sure. Go for it.
See how it goes.
This will encourage people to actually watch it themselves too.
Yeah, I'll also say if she walked into Oakland like that, the gangsters would be very confused because it's just like Crips, Bloods. I can't tell what's going on here.
All right, let's
50-50. I think she's trying to make everybody happy. Go for it.
But I don't understand.
Is that dichotomy though equivalent to?
Let's go back a second.
Yeah, like probably
there
5
was,
minutes.
I didn't even know about this.
Or a couple minutes.
For a reason, it switched, but like in the late 1800s, there were Italians that were lynched. I didn't even know about this till I was research.
So the claim here was there's no such thing as white privilege.
Oh, cool.
And so my question was, did there used to be white privilege at some point?
No, I'm confused.
And the answer came back yes, and then I asked, when did it go away? And now she's talking about other groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there is such a thing as a white person that could possibly think that white privilege doesn't exist. I'll have to see this video and analyze it in detail.
Didn't you watch it already? I thought you were.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes. Well, I actually saw the last third of it, and I commented you. I saw that first beginning we saw in the last third, but we're getting off topic. But
okay,
yeah,
there's a part in the middle.
I saw the tenor change on her, and definitely towards the end of the video, she's a lot more compatible.
Yeah.
With empathy and a much more reasonable person to speak with.
There's the chicken.
All right, let's keep going.
Oh my gosh,
they
it's a
actually
chicken.
got off. 11 of them were taken and got killed.
Right.
Even though
and they were like Irish.
Yes.
Also,
Irish and Italians.
potato famine is the whole thing.
Irish and Italians. That,
yeah.
That was.
Are they?
Rubio, he used to say the only people lower than Italians were Irish. But I don't understand.
Is that dichotomy though equivalent to
dichotomy?
Like, in Black history?
No, I mean, no. But I will say, like, coming from Italy, like as far as like giving money, I was to say repercussions, and that's the wrong word. My husband's family in Italy, they didn't have slaves.
Oh, geez.
And they're technically white. So no, I don't think it is. But I think, like with that, so that's my own family's personal history. So like my kids, ever since they were little, they were raised in a home. I always reminded them that you don't ever judge
Black people commit the most crimes
or anything like that, because I would say, look at Pop Rubio. He came over here and he was, just because of where he was from, he was looked at as trash. And so, like for me, like my kids, that's just how they were raised. That you don't discriminate against people like that.
Yeah.
Unless if they have a warrant.
Okay, well, I feel like I've taken up a lot of your time, and I feel like I can talk to you for a long time. You're really easy to talk to. Thank you so much for your time.
I don't have all the right answers, but I mean.
Yeah,
I was trying to
get your perspective. Do you have any questions for me? I want to open up and be fair to you, since I've asked you so many questions.
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, if I said something wrong, well, I didn't give you my last name. So
The sure. And we were masked up, so it's all good.
I know.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the interview process?
Oh yeah, I do. I like sitting down and being with
Right now, I'm trying to end on good terms, but then we just move on to another thing.
Yeah,
it happens.
I don't believe that as a whole society, sitting down and talking is going to change people's minds. But I do believe that
that's funny because that's what my YouTube channel is all about.
But I do believe, really?
And it works.
But
it works to change my mind too.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying is that. But I do believe that there are individuals out there, a lot of individuals that are open to it. But I think that as a whole, and I think part of it is like the media and the way that they try to.
The media.
I think individually, but I don't know as a whole society. If just discussing will change, I don't know what the answer is, but.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't think change is possible at all, or that people don't change their minds. That's the impression that I'm left with, and correct me if that's not what you mean.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah, it is. I think one of the questions I asked was, what would satisfy the unrest? Another one was like.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think is causing the unrest? And let me know, because you're enjoying the conversation. That's the only reason why I'm continuing with my questions. But
and I mean, I always have to, because I don't.
Good job getting consent there.
Say anything that again makes me seem racist. That's the thing that
something I'm still working on is checking in continuously throughout to make sure they still want to talk.
That are doing well.
Very important.
And,
very good.
If a majority of them were not doing well, both financially and a majority are doing well.
I do.
What if? What would be the criteria? Let's put it like. I'll rephrase my question.
Good.
Let's say like 100%.
I don't do a great job at it, but I try.
On a scale between 0 and 100, where 0 is let's say black people and white people are disproportionately given a fair shake in America, and 100 is they're absolutely given the same shake in America, and there's no disadvantage to being black at all. And where do you think you would be on that scale?
I don't know.
It's a really tough.
That is, because I think really, even if you were to ask, say if you were to ask somebody black.
100 wasn't very well defined.
Though
maybe that's why it was hard.
Thank you for
really
giving me
depends on
permission to
their-
say black. I guess that was
their
needed too.
own experience.
I cringe
their
every
own
single time someone
individual
calls me
experience.
African American.
You can't look at it
yeah.
collectively on a larger scale.
Well, I can't, but what I'm saying is
It's a lot of
that
syllables.
I don't know like
It
percentages.
is a lot of syllables.
I don't know. My best friend, like growing up, again, like so we were dirt poor. Her dad was, a doctor, and mom was a nurse. They had shitloads of money. So she's 100% like, oh yeah, definitely white privilege, Matt. I mean, it's white privilege is everywhere. And again, from my personal experience, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because
Aporia.
but I do
Where?
feel like
No, that's depression.
A little bit.
there are African American families.
There's a lot of
that
pausing.
She's back to African American. She is
are
thinking though.
comfortable financially, and
Financially?
granted, this is like the look at the Obamas. I guarantee they're girls.
What would make you think that there isn't a fair shake between blacks and whites in America?
Oh my God.
Is there something that would persuade you that there is a difference in treatment, both either economically or
You're going for
violently
good
or
confirmation finally.
police
That's
brutality or property?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I'm sure there are, but
What would be the thing that you would need to see to think that was happening or that was the case?
good. There we go.
I'm a big statistics person,
Uh-huh.
but
No, she's not.
evidence.
Oh, okay.
too.
So, like,
But
if you saw, like,
So
You
I
saw,
follow,
like,
I do a confirmation on that.
X
Good.
times 2 number
Good.
of black people were unable to buy a house or something, comparatively, on paper, that would be the thing that would make you think that there was not a fair shake.
No, not really. I guess I don't know what the answer is.
But she didn't accept it.
I think a lot of it too. So again,
No, but there is an
where I
appeal to
work,
ignorance going on
They
here.
always have all the statistics of how we're.
It's like I have
By the
this
way, I
belief.
asked them the same questions. Okay, like we all.
I'm not willing
So
to change
I
it,
I'm not
asked them,
feeling
like-
unfairly. I'm not feeling unfairly.
Oh, good,
and I don't know what it'll take for me
no.
to change my mind. That's an appeal to ignorance.
So again, I work for a school
Right.
district, and a lot of times that's the data comes back, and mainly where we live, it's we have a lot of Hispanic families, okay, Latino families, and so it's always because we, if you look at the discipline, we discipline the, I don't know why she. Yeah, I get that. You can come join our conversation if you want. I don't want to have a conversation. Okay, and that's what happens. Anyways,
We had that happen a couple times
the
where
data comes
protesters
back,
were,
we're writing more referrals for the Hispanic.
calling our names or something as they went by.
But then what I always
And I
wanna
just
throw in
thought
there
to
too
myself, as that happened, if
Yeah.
only that they came and joined the talk and listened, they
Mm.
would be truly advocating. In other words, if they were joining the talk, if they joined us rather than called her names
Sure.
and walked by,
It wouldn't be reinforcing
think-
these ideas that she has.
yeah, she's just going to dig her heels in harder into her idea. Or, the other person isn't going to have an opportunity to talk outside of their own group. And to me, activism is about opening yourself up to being wrong and going in with your own opinions and your own evaluation and laying it all out on the table with somebody else and seeing if we can find common ground or if we can come to an understanding about something. Also, I'm not sure how much longer we have. I've got plenty of time, but however much time we think we have to review, maybe we can skip to the very last part, like the end part, or
Sure.
however much time we think we have left. Yeah.
About 40 minutes in, or an hour and 5 minutes in.
Yeah. How much time is so probably? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, we can go
Yeah.
until 90 minutes for this whole stream. And if you have to leave, feel free to go. I think Quinn was supposed to come as well, hopefully.
Yeah, you'll be coming in.
Cool. All right. Here we go.
don't even know what the truth is anymore. Because
don't exist, you
I
fucking
don't even know what the
idiot.
truth is anymore. Ooh,
Anyways.
that's good.
See, there we go. There's
like,
another
if I
one.
go find statistics that say no, there isn't any police brutality at all. I can find those. If I say, oh, 100% it's against black, I can find those too. I mean, that's part of the problem too. I think actually in America.
Is there a truth to be known though? So people can
Now
say
we're in
the
Nathan's
truth is one way or the other, but what do you think the truth is? Is there
Exactly what Nathan loves.
disproportionate violence in America?
Discussion question.
Yeah, Nathan, you get up in the morning for questions like
Looking at
this.
the statistics that I found,
I do.
I do not believe that there's clear evidence that black people are targeted more by police. I don't.
We got a statement finally.
Where are you on a scale of confidence? Let's say 100 is there's no
Finally! Wow,
difference
what's
at
the
all,
timestamp?
and 0 is there is a difference.
We finally made it.
So the claim is that there's no
1 hour
difference
and 6
between
minutes
in police violence against black and white people. So if 100 was, there definitely isn't a difference.
I'd maybe 90, 95.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, I think that
What would make you go from a 90, 95 to lower on that scale? What would cause you to doubt that?
If I started meeting a bunch of cops that were racist,
So like if you saw,
interesting now.
like a-
Finally.
so you'd have to personally go out and see them, but would it like a compilation video of like cops showing racial signs back and forth at each other or
no,
saying things like
because
that wouldn't?
I'll tell you why. I mean, I'd have to see with my own eyes because of the fact that videos, again, some videos you put them out and they
Some
can be edited.
wild
I mean,
disconfirmation
we could probably
criteria is
take
needed.
Everything that went down here today.
No, but
Say if you were going to prove that
now we see
that
cracks.
the support back to blue people were all the violent ones, you could put that video together. Same exact event, and I could put my video together, and they would look so completely different.
Wouldn't the truth be somewhere in the middle there then? If
Yes.
there were okay.
don't go that way. Don't go that way.
Ooh,
Turn
I
it
wouldn't
off.
have gone there. Now you're offering her outs.
People
Where
are
would
going
you have
the
gone?
wrong
This is
way on a one-way
A
street.
learning opportunity for me.
Yeah.
What should I have asked? What would be a good question there?
So she's offering you her strategy, her methodology. And so
Mhm.
after ICSE in 3 steps, like, what do you mean by that? How can we test that? And how reliable is that test? And she offered you her test and that, no, I have to see it myself. And so that could lead to, okay, how reliable is just that method? Is it possible to see something for yourself and still be wrong?
Right.
And that's the easy follow-up.
Or would you how confident are you that your own, if you had to see things through your own eyes, because earlier in the talk, and I think we skipped this part, was when she said she has no idea what it's like to be a black person in America or something like that.
Probably
So if that's the case, I could have connected that. If you don't know what it's like to be a black person in America, then is your own personal experience truly reliable? Or is there some other evidence that might be more reliable than your own personal experience?
Definitely points to think about, but I wouldn't offer her where the truth would lie. That's something for her to come up with. And it's not necessarily the case that it's in the middle. There are sometimes people who are wrong and sometimes people who are right. And the truth lies with just one person. So don't give her outs like that. You got to be careful. Sometimes there is no middle ground, and people love middle grounds, especially when they're flailing for a rationale to believe what they believe.
Right.
It's called equivocation fallacy. But yeah.
My feedback is much more nitpicky.
Go
The
for
word
it.
wouldn't. If I see an apostrophe NT at the beginning of a question, that's almost always a messenger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Would this be is probably not. Wouldn't is usually, but obviously there could be exceptions.
I
do that. I actually really like that, and I think I do. That is
that.
a habit of mine. I have a political science background, so like.
Nathan,
I'm
I feel like every
often
single time we talk, you tell me there's like a bingo, and that is like the square in the middle. It's like I have a political science background. I feel like that the survey and OTF mention of that is like
the survey is great.
I know. I'm
Don't you
having
be
a
dissing the survey?
No.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's it's a part. I guess it is a part of my identity than even I realized. Though I feel like what it is my coming from a political science background. I think that if you study politics a lot, it makes you overly confident in things that you think you know when it comes to politics. And I've been like trying to undo that a lot.
Oh man,
since I graduated, and I've noticed that I do ask a lot of wouldn't questions. Wouldn't you think this?
Yeah. Wouldn't this be
given that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that I'm working on, that and not saying but. I actually think I only said I said but pretty infrequently in this, but damn it, I just did it.
What is
no,
the
only once that I've counted.
What is the implication of butts? Why don't you guys like saying that? Just
but is just a way of it's in an impossible how to have impossible conversations, but the word but is just like everything I just said, disregard it because but is there. So you definitely don't want to use the word but when you're repeating what you're hearing people say. Like if you're trying to summarize what somebody's saying and then say but and then follow up with something else, you're essentially sending them a message that there is a caveat that makes everything they said before null and void or irrelevant in some way. It downplays what you're saying. So
I'm aware of that format. I also know of but where you reaffirm what someone says and maybe even slide in a compliment. And that's more of my professional background where you're talking to someone and they might sound a little wary about something. And you'll repeat back what they say, and you can be like, "But I know you know that," and they'd be like, "Yeah, I know that," and it's just like, "Oh, yeah," but just things going. Okay. So it's not always 100% of the time, but's bad. There's ways to use it. It's just one of those ways how you effectively use it. And yeah, I guess in the general sense, you want to be careful with how you phrase your statements. So yeah.
Mind Onion has a comment. You can use OTF in these political questions. If someone said that they had a personal experience of the cops being racist, would they be justified in drawing the opposite conclusion to you?
Wow. Well put.
Ooh.
That would have been really good because that would have put the criteria in the minds of the person that she's claiming to not agree with. So if the people that she doesn't agree with are using the exact same method to arrive at their conclusion that it is the case, then which one's true?
Yeah,
good one. That was good. That was good. Cool. I'll play it.
This is chaos. Anyways, it's hard to see where you're going.
No, I don't. But so I'm just saying for myself. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time around police officers. I volunteer with them. I spend time in the jail.
She's got a family of police officers, which is another part we skipped. She's got a background with police officers.
Is that what
white police officers?
For me, from what I hear in the news and everything, it's everywhere.
The media.
It's everywhere. Every cop that I
and you think it's not?
I definitely don't think it's everywhere. I definitely don't think it's everywhere. No,
so are these people who think that it is everywhere? Why do you think they think that?
I think a lot of it is false information, and I'll tell you, like Breonna Taylor. Going back to Breonna Taylor.
Oh, here we go again.
To a couple of girls.
This is hard. This is hard for me to listen to too.
Well, she's doubling down.
I wonder why. Think is right?
You kind of had her on the ropes a wee bit.
So they're like, well, what about Breonna? And I said, okay, legal warrant signed off. They're like, no, I heard the warrant was no, they didn't have a warrant. No, they actually did. And then someone said it was the wrong apartment.
She wants you to challenge her on this because this is the thing she studied that more.
If I'm going on that, a couple of
and admittedly, I haven't.
That
though I get to
the person that was actually already in police custody.
Take something else.
So these are reasons to be where you're at. I'm wondering what the thing would be that would make you go low on that scale to see whether. Because I'm going to ask the same questions over there.
Yeah.
Because
good job reframing back to the main point.
Looking to see the thing that would make my mind change. What is that thing? If there is anything at all, and if there isn't, why is that?
So, but what I'm saying is that
great.
I believe what I believe because the facts that I've seen. If the facts that I've seen, and I actually go out and I look for them. I mean, I looked last night. I went and looked at all the different people that have been killed in Portland. Shot the last 5 years in police custody. I mean, by police in Portland last night. You know, and I mean, so I go out and I look for information. If
all the information that I'm seeing, I
Here we
believe
go.
is true, but I'm only getting half the story, then I'm going to believe stuff that I only.
And here's
Like-
the
like-
Possible that
now,
maybe-
now the immediate follow-up is that a
I'm not
reliable
getting all the
way
information.
Yeah.
Oh,
to know if something's true or not?
100%.
It's very open-minded of you.
100%.
What would be the thing that would make you go from a 90-95 to a 20? Is there something, just hypothetically, is there something that
20 might
you
be too low.
could see that would make you?
I don't
Maybe.
think so, because
Also, shake up. Because she's
So
the
let
person
me
that needs to be
turn
shaken
that
up first.
question
What would make
inside
you more
out.
confident? What would
Imagine
make
now
you
for a
feel like
moment I'm
99,
interviewing a Black Lives
110%?
Matter protester, and they're telling me that there's nothing that could ever be demonstrated to them, or any kind of information that they could ever see, that would make them go from a 0 to a 90. Like, how would we resolve our disputes with that person?
I don't know. I mean,
So-
so listen,
Sure.
I grew up in a home trusting police.
Value signaling.
Sure.
Because again, my dad was in some sort of law enforcement the whole time, that police were good. My kids grew up in homes that police are good. You can trust them. Yeah, there's bad people everywhere, but in general, police are good. Put me against a family, a kid over there that maybe has grown up believing that police are going to shoot you. You have to be careful every time you get pulled over because they want to kill you. I don't know if talking to each other, if either one of us could ever really sway how, like, it's like deep in that core, like it's that core. So,
Yeah, we're talking about belief right now,
yeah,
and
yeah.
whether or not
but what
the
I'm saying is that the belief, though, I think is a lot of like what they're fighting for versus like what I'm, not even fighting, standing up for. I
is there anything that would make you go from a 90? And let me know if because I feel like I don't want to repeat myself at you, or anything.
Okay.
But I'd like to know if there is something that would make you go from that 95 to a 20.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
I
Just to see whether or not our minds are open on the issue.
And that was
Oh, you're
an
leading in a little bit there.
what would I
test.
have to see?
A little leaning in there.
I raised the
Maybe I'm going
stakes.
the wrong way.
Yeah. I wonder if
I would
that could be
have to
seen by
see a
people who
very-
are critics of SC as like a
God, I don't
disingenuous
wanna think about it,
move
like-
right there.
Really?
Yeah, because her main issue is just she's appealing to ignorance. So like there are more open, honest ways to do that than to be like, answer my question, or maybe that thing you said about being open-minded isn't necessarily true. It's just like, ooh, yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
have to go
so
there.
I was doing it. I guess in my own head, I was thinking of the outsider test. Like, if somebody else was at a 0 to your claim and you're at a 90, but they don't know, they can't imagine what it would take to go from that 0 with you or meeting you halfway or somewhere on your scale to boost their confidence. If they can't even imagine what they would need to accept.
The best thing I can tell
What
you
would we
is to
think
tell you how I heard that question that you just offered, and that is, you had told me before that you were open-minded. Answer my question, or maybe you may not be as open-minded as you think, and that is the raising of the stakes, where it's like there's a more tacit and an appropriate way to handle an argument from ignorance than that. You don't have to offer anything, but it's just like, hey, if you're so confident but you don't have a frame of reference of whether you're right or wrong, why are you so confident then? Like, what is your frame of reference? If you don't know what it look like if you're wrong, is what's justifying that you're so certain? Because you did make a certainty claim, and you can just focus right back on that and then see what she offers. And then it's just like, what is really backing up this high confidence that you have in this belief? If every single, like each time that we ask, it doesn't seem to be anything holding it up. What's can we go back to that confidence you have and try to understand why you're so certain about it? But you won't have to go back into like, hey, remember that thing you told me in the past? Now I'm throwing it back at you. Like that's the darker road. That's dark. That's dark side of SC. You don't have to go there. You could just stay focused on like, what's the methodology? What are you using to support this confidence you have? Nothing you don't know. Then why are you so confident? Because you started off with a very confident claim, and just focus on that.
Cool.
By the way, all my hand signals, I get very excited when I see Aporia, and so far I have counted 4 significant aporia events in this conversation so far.
Cool. Dali, how are you defining aporia? Because I just learned about that yesterday. Don't look it up.
I'm looking at that
definition. No, I'm asking.
I'm not looking at.
What do you mean by aporia? That's what I meant.
What do I mean?
What do you mean? Not Merriam-Webster. What do you mean by?
Of time.
A gap. Okay.
A gap of time in which somebody's. I often see their eyes go off to somewhere unimportant, or outside of anything they're paying attention to, and there's a consideration, a stopping, and a little bit of a thing like that. And I, especially when they're speaking, and if they're speaking about a thing and then they change course in the middle of a sentence, that's often something I see in aporia.
Okay, cool. And Nathan, I'm not belaboring the point. Hopefully I'm not, but I don't think what you said was like completely like outrageous or offensive. I'm just saying like there's always the better route of just making like SE is very, very simple in the sense of like just stay focused on the method and what's making them so confident. And if she keeps appealing to, well, I don't know, then that's perfect grounds for you to be like, okay, well then what's supporting this confidence? And then that again puts onus on her to provide you information rather than you telling her, well, what about this? Well, what about these things that I can offer you? Let her do the thinking. And if she appeals to ignorance, why is she so confident?
When people have a hard time finding it important to provide disconfirmation criteria, I think I may possibly rely a bit too heavily on outsider tests for that conundrum. Because I find it deeply troubling if I don't personally know what it would take to think the opposite way on most things that I think. So if I'm highly confident in something, I usually I like to think that I have something that's keeping it there that that is like a scenario that would allow me to doubt it. And if I don't have that quality to my high degree of confidence, then I start to question the number I'm giving on my scale.
Also, if you don't like the scale, you can always just gauge how confident she is just by the prose she's using. Like a lot of the terms she's saying, it doesn't seem like she's absolute, but it's still very, very high. And you did a really good job of rewarding her before when she was saying, hey, I don't know. And you're like, hey, I don't know. That's a good thing. I like to hear that. So if you need to back away from the scale and keep it less numerical, I'd keep the conversation more natural. I'd wholly recommend that.
Maybe if someone just cannot think of anything that would be a disconfirmation criteria, maybe, I don't know if this is a good thing to do, but if you genuinely think of something that you don't even know, that you don't have the data for, you don't have the evidence for, but if you, like, hypothetically, if we found out this and actually come up with something, if they can't come up with something, would that be a good reason to change our confidence about this? Something like that.
Right. And I did that with the scenario of like, if you saw more cops, like a compilation video of cops showing racial signs back and forth to one another. And she said that wasn't going to be evidence enough. She needed to see things personally. So it was more personal experience was the emphasis here.
I'll throw out one last thing.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done, Nathan. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, that's pretty much it.
If Spaghetti Eddie was here, he would make the recommendation
that's making it spicy.
Well, the value of a thought experiment on neutral ground is that it doesn't use any of the hot topics that were previously used in the conversation. So like, instead of coming up with an analogy that implies police brutality or Black Lives Matter, where there's clearly a side that you should pick, you can take a more abstract thought experiment and just be like, hey, if someone's very confident that they have a drawer of red socks, but they don't know what red socks look like, how can we be, is their confidence justified that if they hold up a sock and they say this is red, that it's an actual red sock? Like, can someone who doesn't know what it looks like if they're wrong be so confident that they're right and be justified in that confidence? Like, and then you can frame it right back to the regular conversation. You're good at doing that, Nathan, by the way. You did that with me last night with Goku, but I don't. Batman. Yeah. The Batman argument was really good, but that's a conversation for another time. I'm just saying you have the skills to do it, and abstract thought experiments are useful, particularly in these contexts.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
Let's go for another 15 minutes or just however long this video.
Alrighty.
Let's keep going.
Lots of videos. Yeah. Lots of videos. More than just one, because I think you can find one video of anything.
Except God.
Police calling people of color like really bad names and then just flat out shooting them.
If they did that without calling.
The guy that was running away, shot.
Oh my
If
God.
I saw time and time again with that, and those cops then got away with it, I'd be like, yeah, that's a problem. That's not okay.
Instead of video, if we took that criteria that would slide you down and changed it to numbers on a page, and the amount of people who are black being disproportionately
Cherry-picked statistical evidence, though.
on paper.
There was
And let's
a
say it
problem.
came from the current administration, maybe.
Earlier statistics was something she would accept.
And it was
True, but she's
credible to
cherry-picking
your
her statistics that she
satisfaction,
would accept.
hypothetically. You looked at it.
That's
and were
generally
like,
the
you know
issue.
what, these
It's the
statistics
unsaid
are
issue,
this.
but it is the issue.
Would that be
Oh yeah,
something that would slide you down?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
It's most ad hoc rationalization.
I mean, it would. But then the problem is, then statistics. I mean, like evidence and stuff. You can find evidence on both sides, and I think that's why it's so confusing. That you know, the Democrats, they put out their information, and then Republicans, they put out their information. And dear God, it's super confusing on like what to believe and what and I feel like what I do. Okay, I'll give you an example of something really quick. I'll try to make it quick. But we had our house painted a few years ago, right? Half the painters, the debate was whether or not just spray the paint on or spray and back roll. I got talked to 6 different painters, half and half.
Sure.
Half said no, you just spray thick. That's what you do. The other half said no. You spray and you have to back roll. Oh God.
There's more distractions happening all around me. There's an altercation over there.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So,
The
but
truth
this is the thing. After
Maybe bring up testability in this situation. So some painters have a position one way or the other. To test the quality of a paint job with different techniques and try to analogize that to whatever topic they were on.
Yeah, she ended up saying, well, she'll say it. She ended up saying she found one that worked better, and it's just subjective which one works better, I think, is what I hear her say. So it doesn't quite go where I want it to go.
Yeah. If you came across 10 walls and half of them were made with one technique and the other.
Ooh. Yeah.
Interesting.
the
If you got them backwards or it was just 50-50 by chance, what does that say about the quality of your test or the difference between the techniques if you can't tell one way or the other? So just get to the importance of testability.
Yes.
And that relates to belief revision, having to find specific observations or evidence that could change your mind. That's the point of a test. Yeah.
both sides. What made the most sense to me?
Made the most sense to me.
Sprayed and back rolled. Because it made most sense to me.
So there was a right way to do it.
Very good path forward
to paint it properly.
There was a right way that made sense to me. The other 3 that said no, you don't back roll.
That's the test. You need a question.
To them, they would say no. You just
I think I'm exhausted at this point.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But that's the goal.
The right way to me. Like I said,
That is, yeah.
Isn't that the TIA route? Reid,
I
you know
took
this
the
route very well, right? Isn't that the TIA route? It makes sense to me. Isn't that literally the TIA talk route?
That is an epistemology. It's just like appeal to common sense or appeal to just intuition.
Yes.
So how do we test our intuitions? How do we tell what makes sense to us is actually real and reliable?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Information from both sides, and then I just made what made the most sense to me.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
He's
that's
tripling down on it.
this guy. I don't know what he's doing.
So I'm actually gonna wrap this interview up. So I'm gonna try to talk to some other people before I go home today.
We can leave it there. But overall, really great job, Nathan. This is an
Good job,
Thanks.
Nathan.
video.
Kind of meandered around, but yeah,
You got
I
this.
didn't know what to do with this video after I was done recording it. I think I sat on it for like almost 2 months, maybe a month and a half before I decided to release it. And I've got a couple more on the way. I'll be releasing another one tomorrow. That's kind of a reverse SE.
Yeah, it's the guy who
where,
asks you questions, right?
yeah, I just want to get his thoughts on Black Lives Matter, and he tells me, I'm going to ask you the same questions, and then he tells me, you tell, I'm on a bridge right now, I'm about to jump off. You tell me why my life matters. So that's the name of that video, is You Tell Me Why My Life Matters. That'll be coming out probably tomorrow. And then I have another video coming out maybe this week or early next week. I might release it on election day if I'm feeling really up for it.
Right.
Called Do Away with All Politicians.
Okay.
And I actually have my camera person for that one, so that's well shot. But it wasn't. It was happened while I was trying to do my Black Lives Matter interviewing, and he kind of went off the topic to just say, you know what, politicians, let's talk about that instead. So I didn't include it with my BLM footage, but it should be coming out sometime this week, maybe.
Gotcha.
And then I have my interview with Anthony.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Also. Yeah, that one's fun. I've been sitting on that one for too long too. It takes me a while to release stuff.
But even edit, like you do the editing, right? And it's just ready to go, but
like really light editing, like it's just the intro and the outro, and then I think of like things that are like really important to mention so people don't get the wrong idea of what SE is. Like in this video, I wanted to make it clear that you shouldn't be delivering a message, though I did deliver messages in this interview. So I wanted to just say like, hey, listing arguments isn't really a good idea. You don't want to be doing that. I just wanted to see if there was, if these arguments had been presented to this person in the past, I just was curious for my own curiosity. I wanted to know what they thought about it. And I just had shot a BLM video. So I wanted to make a connection, then decided not to make any connections at all and just make them separate videos. So, but I also didn't want to cut it out. It's like all these different things that were going through my head on like how to properly do this. That's why it took me like 2 months to release it. Yeah.
SE's fun, man.
It's so much fun. Pre-pandemic, I was a Uber and Lyft driver part-time, and like I'd say 50% of my rides, or whenever I found somebody who was talkative, because I don't want to be like the cab driver that's like talking your ear off or whatever. But if somebody was talkative and they had something interesting they wanted to say, I SE'd them about it.
Wow, yeah. Look at you.
So I actually have like a Rolodex, I have like a dozen or so interviews recorded on. There's no video, it's just audio only, but I've got some of just like random people that enter my cab. They enter the right cab, the right time.
Wow.
They're not as interesting as this though.
Joshua says, did you study Reid? I assume that means like, did I study like epistemology or anything like that? No, I have no formal background in anything like epistemology or anything like that. And he also asks, what biochem?
I, however, did study Reid.
What biochem did you do, Ty? He asks.
I'm sorry. What? What
biochem did you do?
What biochem did you do? So Joshua Rich, I feel like I know the name. I did biochemistry at Georgia Tech. My thesis is available, but we took plants, or really trees, and we turned them into fat. I know that sounds crazy, but the cool thing is fat's way more useful than wood. Yeah, so it's sort of like, the way I describe it makes it sound like alchemy, but really we take waste products from pulp and paper industries, we use bacteria, and we convert them into biodiesel. But just the end product. So when there was a Democrat, I think at the time, We
say that again. Difference?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I
cut
lose
out
some?
a little bit?
Oh, well,
Just
sorry.
for a
So, like,
second.
when there was a Democrat in office, we sold our project as, hey, listen, you have a commodity bacteria. It can take waste products and turn them into really, really useful metabolites, dietary supplements, medical uses, incipients. Check out these metabolites that you can have. This can like reduce like cholesterol. These are some really cool things this one bacteria can do. Then when a Republican came in office, it was like, we aren't going to fund any of this. Like, well, we can make gas.
Wow.
You can make gas. It's like, yeah. Are you saying renewable resources? No. This is just to supplement our native supply of fossil fuels, which is a security benefit for the U.S. government. It's like, oh, well, then here's your funding. Then, so it had completely changed. So like at that point, that's when I graduated. But that was my plant biotechnology. Does that mean a building or like the actual plant? But now I work with fibers and I'm in filtration. So plant fibers are very common in filter media and stuff like that. And we've been helping to supply, since everyone's taken all the NIOSH 95 filters, we're making better filters for pedestrian use that are equivalent. And technology in that field has gone really good.
For the home?
For pedestrian use. So like this is outside medical grade.
Oh,
this is outside. Yeah, this is outside of a sterile medical lab, which is what most masks are for. This is for pedestrian use. So you're in Walmart, one of the dirtiest places you can think of, or Dollar General even. Excuse me. So like, what's worse than Dollar General? Ross? Like, I don't know I don't know where you want to go with that, but with pedestrian use. So like, you're outside, you're around a lot of other people, you're touching your face, you're touching things that have been outside, and you're touching like, how can we keep bad things out, and also bad stuff inside of you out from spreading out to other people. That's what we've been developing too. And a lot of our products going to market by 2021. Hopefully we'll have like the standard filter mask, like the one that Dali has right now. They'll have higher efficiencies. Like people will just have our technology and we'll just have better masks overall. Man,
2021. Hopefully we'll be through the worst of it.
I think so. I think we're going to survive. I have a crazy belief we'll survive this.
All right.
Crazy belief.
Yeah. All right, I think things are going to be just okay.
Yeah, let's do the quick plugs. I'm Reid from Cordial Curiosity. Dali and I are doing in-person out in public SC, hopefully as safe as possible. And we might be out going on Tuesday or Friday this week. Just follow us on social media. Twitch.tv/Cordial Curiosity is where we'll be streaming, and also on his YouTube channel, YouTube/JugglingLessons. And where can people find you, Ty?
They won't be able to find me because I am making medical stuff. but I will say this: once a week, I do meet up with my friends, and like our replacement for church is just having a conversation with each other. I call it the Let's Chat podcast, and it's out on my Patreon as well. I put the episodes for free on YouTube. So like once a week, it's me and my friends from Kentucky and Tennessee. We have a roundtable, and just today we talked about the nature of atheists can be wrong about stuff, and like the idea of like, hey man, just because you don't believe in a God doesn't mean you have a degree in smarty pants. So there's still things that you can be wrong about. And we had a really cool roundtable discussion about like, here's some things that I thought were true that aren't true. And it didn't take me becoming an atheist for me to figure that out. I had to go out and talk to people and understand where my limitations were. And I'm glad that I did it. And I feel like very free to admit that I didn't know something and improve upon that and still go through that process of learning. And if you like stuff like that, check out my channel. It's called Let's Chat on YouTube. You can go on youtube.com and search Let's Chat. It'll be one of the first things that pop up.
Gotcha. And
my channel.
Yep, go ahead.
Abstract Activist. You can find me on YouTube. And
hey, that's me.
Yeah, that's I'll get
this is Ty's channel. Let's Chat.
Hey.
That's one to check out for sure. And you already saw one video on my channel. Hopefully you watch more than one or two videos before you judge my ability to do this.
Dude,
this is my first attempt talking to.
Why is he acting so demure? You know you got this.
Well, I'm thinking of like my friends who I don't share this with my friends unless they've done a workshop with me, and then I reveal to them the channel. And I expect that once I do go public with my friend group and my friend circle, hopefully it'll start to grow a bit more.
I honestly think your
no.
Black Lives Matter compilation videos, that one video is the best SC content that's come out this year. And that is despite the fact that Reid and I went to COVID ground zero together. I still think your video right there, like just from the composition and how it was shot and like just the nature of the conversation you're having, was probably some of the best stuff I've ever seen.
Thanks. That means a lot to me. I didn't do I included a couple of videos in that one that are not the best. Like I even forgot to ask for disconfirmation criteria in one of them.
You are your own worst salesman. We're plugging ourselves right now. Come on, man. What are you doing?
Although it's interesting and it gets better the more you watch it. The best stuff is at the end of the video, and most people have watched the beginning. So give it a try if you haven't seen it already.
Gotcha. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Coming. Thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully we can keep this a weekly thing, and awesome. See you next time. Thanks.
See you, everybody.
Peace.